stuckness is the most painful because everything in this universe is geared towards flowing. So when we're stuck, that's when we feel the most disconnected. And when we feel the most disconnected, that's where we're suffering. That's the most painful. And it's a tricky illusion that shame and having shame enforced upon us perpetuates. And that's why, like, the role of anxiety, that's why the definition that I've developed for it in this kind of work is that it's the energy that signals the presence of something new. What's always going to have novelty? What's always going to be new that's always available to us? That is the present moment. So when we're feeling anxiety, it's trying to signal to us that we have a new place to then accept that anxiety, make it useful, make it productive, and get very present with the moment that we're in. And that is the juxtaposed opposite to stuck. Because as soon as we get present again in the moment, we're back in flow. And that's why I go on so much, and I hope it makes sense. And I couldn't offer it with more genuine, loving intent. But that's why I always talk about focus so much, right? Because there's always value in focusing on the present moment. Not the one that's coming in the future, not the one that's happened in the past, but the actual present moment that we are in. And the value of that is that in the present moment, in that novelty, in that newness that's always available, there's an opportunity to, one, reconnect to the flow that's all around you, that we're all entangled in, and then build a momentum of that by keeping your focus there, right? But unfortunately, just like anger, we're taught to deny anger and push it away and resist it and not accept its energy. And shame teaches us that because anger is actually incredibly powerful. Why? Because it ignites passion. The more connected we are to our self-worth and to our authentic self, the more valuable anger becomes, and the more value our expression that comes from anger is, the more powerful it is. But the same with anxiety. Right? When we recognize that all an anxious feeling is the realization that there's something new called the present moment that we're not allowing ourselves to focus on. It's actually not anything to resist, but we're taught to resist it. We're taught to flee from it. We're taught to push it away. We're taught to deny it. The problem is that just like with anger, or any emotion really, but particularly anger, fear, and bridging feeling of anxiety, anything we deny stops our flow. It makes us stuck. That's the suffering part. That's not to say that what we have to accept in the present might not have pain in it. Of course it can. I'm not diminishing that in any way, shape, or form. But pain registers different in our nervous system than suffering. Why? Because pain, we know, comes and goes. The mental and emotional aspects that make us stuck are when we get so overwhelmed by pain that we feel like the pain's never going to go away. That's suffering. But in the present moment, when we're focused there, we know that pain comes and goes. Like, we're quite aware of that. And that the way that pain comes and goes is that if we don't resist it, because then it moves and shifts into something else. I know that's a lot, but we're dealing with a lot right now. Like, everybody's landed in a place where there's a lot going on. And please don't ever think for a second that we underestimate the courage that it takes to, like, land in that place for all of you and each of you individually and collectively, where there's a lot going on. Like I said earlier, these aren't small things we're talking about.